Coming up on Before You Buy, we have a couple of speakers, we've got a survival light stick, some plants growing right in front of me, and what do you know? A phone. It's time to watch Before You Buy.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Before You Buy is brought to you by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode is brought to you by The Books. Beautiful, affordable flowers grown on an active volcano and shipped for free. For 15% off your first bouquet, visit thebooks.com/twit and use the code TWIT at checkout. That's THEBOUQS.com/twit and use the code TWIT to save 15%. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Before You Buy. Of course, I am not Leo Laporte. I am Jason Howell, filling in for Leo, doing my best. Though you can never truly fill in for Leo. He's been doing this show so long, he doesn't stumble over his words in the ways that I probably will. But I'm happy to be here, filling his shoes. Sitting right next to me, I have another guy that from time to time fills Leo's shoes, Chad Johnson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic. You were blasting my ears before this show started with some intense dance music.
I would like to know what my neighbors think of me, because not only do I scream...
Because of the speakers or other things?
The speakers,
okay.
But then also... Like, I will record videos in the middle of the night where I'm screaming at other people on the other end of the line.
I'm not sure what I think of you either.
This speaker review, though, was a lot of fun, I gotta say.
Right on. So what do you got here?
So I have 3 speakers, and they're all from this same company, 808 Audio. And they're all Bluetooth speakers. You can see we have the 808 Hex SL, the 808 Hex TL, and the 808 Hex XL.
Wow, you got to keep that straight.
S, T, and X is how it works. All of them are Bluetooth. Now, I'm just going to cover the features that all of them have. They all have aux inputs. So on the back of each of them, they have a place that you can plug in a headphone. And so if you happen to have a device that isn't Bluetooth ready, don't worry, this will support it. They're all covered by a 1-year warranty, and they all have, I guess I was going to say a charging cable, but this one right here does not have a micro USB. This is the only one that doesn't have a rechargeable battery included. You have to, if you're going to use batteries with the TL, you need to use 8 AAA batteries.
Is the TL kind of considered the middle of the line?
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It doesn't have the rechargeable battery.
It doesn't have the rechargeable battery. So I'll go ahead and start with the SL. The SL is the smallest of them by obvious looks. It has a few functions. It has a volume up, down, a sync button, and then at the bottom there is a power toggle. This is just a switch. So when you shut this down, you just flip the switch and you can see the LED light on the top. It'll just, or at the bottom actually, it'll just shut off. This is made with aluminum. In fact, this is my favorite out of all of the build qualities.
It looks really light.
Well, it's you know, it's heavy enough, I would say.
Okay.
It's not.
Well,
it's
not.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want something like this because it's super portable. You don't want it to be super light and fragile.
Right.
You're gonna throw this in your backpack.
Exactly.
It's gonna crumple.
And also the weight. There is a pretty substantial battery in here. This will last. They claim up to 12 hours. And I didn't play it continuously for 12 hours, but it definitely lasted a few days with you know, about a week actually, with me not charging it and playing it while I was doing laundry and things like that. This was by far my favorite form factor out of all of the speakers as well. This can easily fit into the back of my pocket. It might not seem like it can, but it fits in a back pocket quite easily. Well, I mean, this is what I normally did with it is I did laundry, threw this in my back pocket, and then I'd have audio throughout the house no matter where I walked. And I know that sounds a little bit absurd, but it was the most enjoyable thing ever. On top of that, because of its size, I could put it, if you know, I didn't want it in my back pocket anymore, I could just set it next to the sink if I was doing dishes or chores around the house. And it also is the correct size to put into a cup holder if you want to throw it in your car. Some things it doesn't have is it doesn't have play, pause, skip to next and back features. You have to do that on your phone. For a quick audio snippet, obviously it's going to be the quietest out of the three because it's just the smallest. It only has a single speaker in there. But here, this is actually, in fact, your own album.
Oh, I think I know this guy. Yeah. Kind of, a little weird hearing my song on Before You Buy. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
But I would say that that's a pretty substantial amount of audio out of something that's less than half a foot tall.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let me make sure there aren't anything else that I'm forgetting. And the wireless range of Bluetooth for all of these is around 30 feet. There was times that I kind of forgot that I had set my phone in my bedroom, and it wasn't until I was like in the kitchen, which is a hallway, a living room, and like a second hallway away from my my bedroom, that I realized that it started to break up because I was so far away. And there's also like an air conditioning in the middle of that. On the pros, on this device, I really like that it was metal. Its construction was by far my favorite, and it's super duper portable. For the cons, no play, pause, and skip buttons.
What is the price on that one again?
This is $70.
Okay.
Or sorry, $60. $59.99, coming in at $60.
Nice.
I think that is a very good price point for that one. Next is the TL. The TL has not only it has two speakers, basically, instead of, actually it has three. It has two on the front and one bass on the back. Now this is plastic construction, unlike the aluminum that was the SL. On top of that, it doesn't use a micro USB to charge. It uses an actual AC cord, so if you lose this, you cannot charge it. In fact, you have to use the AA batteries unless if you want to run to Radio Shack and pick up another charger. The sound quality on this, let me go ahead and switch over. All of these will make this sort of audible sound whenever they are connected. So you'll hear that coming up here in just a second. And it'll be boo-doo-doo-doo-boop. There we go. Oh. And the other one, the SL, actually made a sound that it had disconnected. It was a very
was
faint.
That the ring? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. This has the power button and audio buttons on the top, as well as the sync button. No play pause on this. Let's go ahead and just give you a quick glimpse of how loud it is. And this is, let's turn this all the way up.
Blast it.
There we go. Bonk.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Now this was a little
clearer, a little more clarity on this
definitely.
one for sure.
And it's more directional.
Yeah.
Because the speaker's on the front and on the back. I gotta say, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but out of the TL and the XL, I like this one's form factor, that it was tall instead of wide, because this fits a lot better on a nightstand than this. So I want to point that out. So pros and cons on the TL is that I liked its taller form factor. I did not like the fact that it was made out of plastic and that it didn't have a micro USB charger. It had the DC in charger.
Excellent.
Moving on to the XL. This one's cost. The TL's cost is $80. So we went from 60 to 80.
$20 bump for a little bit more clarity.
Yeah, and you can guess the pattern.
2,000.
This is 2,000. No, exactly.
I'm really bad at this
$100 for the XL. So this is the highest end one. This one does have a rechargeable battery inside of it, and it has a micro USB to charge. Nice thing about this is it has a handle, and then on the side you're also given your skip to next track, last track, play, pause, and then here over on the other side is your volume up, down, pair, and power buttons.
And those are all controlling whatever Bluetooth device you happen to have connected to at that point. That's
exactly.
Nice.
iOS or Android for all of these. And then at the bottom is your little subwoofer here. That's kind of hidden so that it'll hit the table. Let's just go ahead and pair this one up.
This is plastic as well?
It's also plastic, but it's like
feels like a rubberized.
Exactly. It's like a matte plastic.
Yeah.
I gotta say the feel is really nice on that, but I really kind of miss the. I mean, it might be metal. It's almost hard to tell because
it is on that one
because of the matteness of the finish. So this one's the back is definitely I don't know. It's actually quite difficult to tell what this one is constructed out of. In terms of usability, this one I left in my kitchen most often because that was where I had the counter space, and this one I left on the nightstand for use there. So you can hear it ding, ding, ding.
Release.
That was this one releasing, and then this one should connect up. Hopefully it did. It may have gone to sleep on us because it wasn't connected before.
I was like, dude, you aren't using me.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
And that was it turning on, and now it's paired. So it makes 2 sounds when you turn it on. Let's switch back over to.
I like the name. I like that they chose 808. Obviously, they're you know, it's a play on 808, which is kind of an old school drum machine that you hear on all types of music since the 80s. So
Perfect.
I think it's a kind of a cool choice that they had.
And all of them have a really nice design language. They all have this hex sort of grid on the front, and I really kind of like that throughout all the products. So let's go ahead and hit play. Definitely the loudest.
Yeah, a little harsher though. Like
it is.
And I don't know if that's because it's facing out more. I'm not really quite sure why that is, but kind of hurts a little bit.
And this is all the way up.
Could also be the song. You know?
Good. No, well, it was funny is I'm really. You've mixed, or you were part of the mixing process.
I've heard these songs far too many times.
You've heard this song so many times. You can tell instantly where it's harsh, if it's harsh on the top or the bottom. So this one comes in at $100. On the Pros, it was the only one that had the play, pause, back, forward buttons. On the Cons, I didn't really love how wide this was, just the form factor of it. Oh, on the Pros, it's the one with the handle, which is kind of cool. So, buy, try, don't buy. Let's just go down the line. For the SL, this is definitely a buy. In fact, if when we send this back, I'm probably going to go buy this for myself because I enjoyed it. So just walking around the house without headphones on, being able to hear phones ringing or cats screaming, or I don't know. It was just really nice.
Cats might be screaming because you're playing your music super loud on one of these.
Perhaps.
Just
and
saying.
I'm jamming out to music instead of fitting in. On the TL, this one's going to be. I'm going to give this one a try, just because it doesn't have the rechargeable batteries, which was a little bit of a bummer. And then on the XL, I'm also going to give this one a try. It just didn't seem like it was worth the basic doubling of price for the extra play, pause, and sync features, and I wasn't super thrilled with the footprint of it, but I did like that they added back in a rechargeable battery and those extra features, so this is a try. So buy, try for the 808 Hex series of Bluetooth speakers. Oh, and they also all come, I know it's not really that
high
much,
quality
they come in
plastic
some
container.
Freaking crazy ass packaging. I mean, this is super high, like, this is like you could put it on a desk and it would be a jewel.
Make it your new safe deposit box at home. It's fireproof.
Basically.
Yeah,
basically. So all of them come in very fancy packaging, which you're probably paying for in the MSRP.
Yeah, at least a little bit.
At least
a
a little
couple of
bit.
dollars. Chad Johnson,
thank you.
Thank you so much for showing off the speakers.
No
and,
problem.
you know, playing my music just one too many times. Next time, little dance music.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah,
we'll go for EDM next time.
Because like you
and
said,
Yellow Gold.
Oh, great.
Everyone, go get
All right, switch away.
YellowGoldMusic.com.
Thank you so much for that, Brian. All right, so we actually have another review coming up right now. Aaron Newcomb, of course, of Floss Weekly here on the Twit Network, did a review of what else? He did a review of this herb garden, a smart herb garden. Let's check that video out.
Hi, everybody. Aaron Newcomb here, back for another BYB review. This time I'm reviewing the Click and Grow gardening system. It's a great little product, especially if you don't have a green thumb. What this is it is a self-enclosed container that comes with everything you need to grow your own, in this case, herbs. It comes with the seeds, it comes with the little pots that you put in the system, and it comes with a grow light. It's all packaged together, so you don't have to buy anything else. All you have to do basically is add water and the plants will grow. So it's very, very easy to use. This runs right now for around $100 on Amazon. So it's a little pricey, but like I said, it comes with everything. You're not going to have to run back out to the store to get anything. If you get this thing in the box, everything that you need is there, literally except for the water, which is great. Speaking of the box is really neat. The box has all the instructions built right onto the inside of the box. So you've got some instructions on the outside. It tells you what the herbs are that you're going to grow. And when you open it up, everything kind of folds out. It's packaged very nicely. You pull the things out and it tells you even on the boxes, the individual boxes, for example, that has the little containers with the dirt, it tells you exactly what to do and how to put them into the container. It tells you how to fill the water. The water's pretty neat because it has a little built-in float. You can't see it. It's down here. There's a little built-in float, and so you add the water until the float comes up, so it's level with the top. So it's really, really foolproof. The other great thing about it is it has a built-in timer for the grow light, so you don't have to worry about setting up your own timer or unplugging it every day. The timer comes with a plug. You just plug it in when you want to start the light hours. So like if you want the light to come on at 6, 7, 8 in the morning, it will stay on, I believe, for about 14 hours. So you just plug that in when you want the cycle to start. It will automatically from then on turn off. So that way you're not kept up at night by this glowing thing, in your kitchen or wherever you set this thing up. So that's really nice. So this is dead easy. That is the one really great selling point about this. The negative part about this, of course, is that, you could really easily do this yourself. I am a do-it-yourself kind of guy, and so I like to look for ways to reuse things, to recycle things, and do this yourself. So if you know a little bit about gardening, really anything about gardening, you could set up a similar system. The system that this uses is called sub-irrigated planting, and you can actually replicate the system yourself using just a 2-liter bottle. So I've got a picture of one that I did online, and you can see basically what I've done is I've cut a 2-liter bottle in half, turned it upside down, filled the bottom part with water, and filled the top part with soil. And then you can actually put in a peat pot, one of those little peat pellet things, put your seeds in there, and all you have to do is refill the water from the bottom when it gets low. By doing this, number one, you're recycling a 2-liter bottle, and it's basically the same system that you have that we're talking about here. So pros and cons. Pros are it's dead easy. There's nothing that you can do wrong here. It's basically foolproof. You don't even need sunlight. It provides its own light. All you need is access to water, and that's it. So if you really just want something that's dead simple, or maybe you want to bring something, maybe you live in an area that doesn't get much sunlight in the wintertime, like Iceland or Norway or someplace like that, and you want a system to grow some herbs during the wintertime, this might be a good option for you. If you do have access to light, however, I think it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper for sure to go out and kind of do it yourself. But anyway, the cons are, of course, the expense. So $100 to grow 3 herbs that you could buy in any nursery for, probably a couple bucks a piece. That's really, really steep. And I think that, like I said, it's going to be a special case when you can go out and actually afford and justify the price of buying this. So that's definitely the con in this case. So my recommendation for this is try, like I said, if you're in one of those special circumstances where you don't have a lot of light, or you don't have access to common planting materials around, maybe you're going to bring this into an office, like I said, or maybe you're allergic to dirt. This would be a good thing for you to buy. Otherwise, don't waste your money. Go out, maybe do some recycling, or just go buy a pot and a plant and put it in there. And I think you're going to have similar success. So with that, I will turn it back to you. Thanks for watching.
All right, thank you, Aaron, for showing us all about that plant, which I wasn't quite sure of when it was on the table in front of me at first, but it all makes sense now. Hey, what do you know? We're on a completely new set, and I'm here with Tanya Hall. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing awesome. We were kind of taking a look at your gadget, while other things were getting set up, and we were all placing bets on what it actually is. So lucky you get to tell us.
I get to tell you. Well, okay, so I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, we went through a pretty scary natural situation, natural disaster.
The earthquake. Is that what you're talking about?
Earthquake here, and we had a little shake-a-thon here at the brick house.
One way to put it.
That's one way to put it. And it happened at 3 o'clock in the morning, or 3:20 or something like that. And it got me thinking, what do you have if for some reason, because in Sonoma and Napa, the lights went out, right? So there was no electricity. Well, this is it's the Champ 10-in-1 Home Portable Survival Light Stick.
Okay.
So there you go.
Kind of looks like the kind of wand you know at the
I know.
airport, and make sure that you aren't carrying any weapons. So it's a light stick.
It's a light stick. It's actually also an AM/FM radio.
Oh, nice.
And it has the NOAA weather radio, so you can actually get weather radio even without AM and FM stations. So
excellent.
it's got actually something else that I find really interesting. It's got a solar charge here. So you can,
Excellent. So you could almost like keep this in your car.
Keep it in your car.
Although I guess if it's in your car, you probably have it stored away and it's not gathering a whole lot of solar
Possibly.
energy. But
and it's got a rechargeable battery. So it's got a it comes with this cord right here, which probably a lot of people have laying around, which has got the USB and micro cable. So you charge it, and it actually could be a substitute as a phone charger. So if for some reason you need to charge your phone, you could use this in place of that. It's got a flashlight here.
wait a minute, you could use this to recharge your phone?
That is correct.
Oh, that's pretty nice. Do you know the size of the battery that happens to be in there, or
I don't.
just out of curiosity? Well, I'm just wondering how much charge it would give to your phone, but even a little bit in an emergency situation might be enough for you to make that call.
Exactly. And so there's two lights. So there's make that call. Exactly. There's two lights. There's this desk light, which they kind of advertise, which actually is a big part of it. And that's operated here on this little dial. It's got a dimmer, so you can see. You can.
Very
and
nice.
it has a light on the bottom where there's a switch right here. And you just turn that on.
Shine
So there's
it in
two
people's
flashlights.
faces.
Which
Excellent.
Which is kind of nice that it does have a dual purpose. So if you wanted to, use this on your desk, it actually does have a purpose, and it's bendable. So if you're trying to do something and get to a certain angle, maybe you do carry it in your car, you could, maneuver it a little bit. It's also got an alarm, which, press that button right there, hold it down.
Oh, I'm scared. Do I hold it down? Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. That was fun. And
Place people under arrest.
and so turn off the lights here. And if you notice, this did flash. So if you had to set up alarm, you could.
Sure.
The other thing that it does is it's got a magnet on the bottom. So if you needed it to be sturdy on your car, you could set it up. And work.
So you could get in and work on the engine or whatever you happen to need to stick it to in order to have your workspace. Nice.
And it has a crank as well, so you can charge it this way.
It's kind of a big deal, that right there.
Yeah, so I think these are a good idea to have.
Yeah.
And if you do use it on your nightstand, you could, when I don't know, when the earthquake, I woke up. And, if the lights had gone out, I mean, they didn't here in Petaluma, but they did in Napa and Sonoma. And if they had, 15,000 people lost their power. So this would have been something that would have been coming real handy. And I could have easily gone outside. It also has an alarm. So if something happened and I needed to notify people,
Right.
It's kind of a neat little tool there.
Excellent. Yeah, I know at least at our house, like we have a bunch of flashlights and they're all, they all have batteries and everything like that.
Yeah.
But in the case of an emergency, knowing where they are in order to use them.
Exactly.
So probably, bedside might not be a bad place for that, especially because it can act as a lamp as well.
And it doesn't just sit there and collect dust and waiting for a chance to be used in an emergency. You could actually use it on your desk. So
Sure.
it could be something that you use on an ongoing basis.
All right. So what do you think? What are some of the pros and cons?
So I would say there are actually more pros than cons. It's I like the solar capability that you can actually, you don't have to have electricity. You could recharge it if need be via solar. I like that it does alternate as a phone charger in case you need one, because that would be the time that you actually need to make that phone call, provided you have cell service.
Yep.
And that you can use it. It has a multi-purpose. There's so many things that you buy for survival stuff, and I'm a little guilty of that. I have lots of survival stuff.
Well, I'd rather have lots of it than not enough of it, I
But
suppose.
most of it's stuff that you're never going to take out of the bag. You're never
Sure.
going to use it. This is something you could actually use, and it will be somewhere you know where it is because you can just grab it and go with it.
Right. The beauty of it is if you're using it up until then, that means it's plugged in, fully charged, ready to go when something happens.
And what I did was just to test the battery life on it. It lasted 4 hours on a full charge, which isn't bad. But as far as a con goes, the con is because this is a rechargeable battery, you can't actually put batteries in it. So if you had disposable batteries and you wanted that as an option, that's not an option. That's really the only con that I had. It's not a real rugged design. I don't think that's their goal. I think their goal is to be a little more sleek and that sort of thing. But
Functional.
But I liked it. It's about $70. Which is fair. And most of the ones that were also $70 who had the radio and all the other bells and whistles did not have the solar capabilities.
Okay.
So
excellent. Looks fantastic. So you'd say buy, I'm assuming.
I would say buy.
All right, cool. This is the Champ Survival LightStick. And yeah, it's nice LightStick as far as LightSticks go, although I have not many to compare them to.
And if you have a child, it could be.
No, believe me, if that was in the house, it would get used for many things, not just emergencies, and it wouldn't be me using it. It would definitely be my kids. So, well, there you go. Champ Survival LightStick, a buy from Tanya. What do you know about the Books? What do you know about flowers? Are you a fan of flowers?
I love getting flowers.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Have you ever ordered flowers online?
I have as gifts, and I love getting them online.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I've ordered flowers online. I've definitely been burned, ordering flowers for my mom who lives in Idaho for Mother's Day and her not getting the right bouquet or it being delivered late or whatever. There's hidden shipping charges. There's, crazy upsells. What shows up often doesn't look like what's ordered. It's kind of a pain. That's a big deal right there. Thebooks.com is changing the way you order flowers online. That's THEBOUQS.com, like the bouquets. Books, because they took bouquets and basically they simplified them. The Books offers roses, lilies, daisies, and more, all in beautiful, colorful, and creative arrangements. Thebooks.com sends flowers straight from sustainable, eco-friendly farms located on an active volcano in South America. Volcano flowers is what we're talking about here. And you go to the website and you take a look at the arrangements and there's beautiful flowers. And then once you find out they're grown on an active volcano, it just kind of takes it up another level. The South American volcano is 10,000 feet above sea level, which means more sun. More sun means more colors, and as far as flowers go, that's kind of what you're looking for. These books are fed by pure volcanic snowmelt and mineral-rich soil. The Books actually cuts your flowers on the day you order them, and they're shipped straight from the farm, so you get the freshest book possible. And all orders are backed by the Books Happiness Guarantee. You can also sign up for the Books Concierge Service and arrange for the Books to automatically deliver flowers on birthdays, anniversaries, or just because. Take the reminder out of the equation, which is sometimes what I need to do, set myself a calendar reminder like this is the day I need to do something. They'll do that for you. They'll manage it for you. Best of all, the pricing is upfront and the checkout process is painless. Your loved ones are going to get beautiful, unique flowers, and you're going to save cash money. So to send your loved ones incredible flowers grown on an active volcano, and make sure and let them know that because that's kind of important. They're going to probably go wow when they hear that. Visit thebooks.com/twit. Books start at $40. And here's the kind of cool thing. You can double the number of blooms for just $10 more. So you get twice as many blooms inside your order for just $10 more. And you'll save 15% off your first book by entering the code TWIT at checkout, plus get free shipping within the U.S. Not a bad deal if I do say so myself. That's thebooks.com/twit. And remember to use the code TWIT to save 15% at checkout. And we thank the Books for their support of Before You Buy and the Twit Network. Now I feel compelled to go ahead and log on and send my wife some flowers because you know what? Dang it, she deserves them.
She totally does. She's married to you. I mean, she just does. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right.
I love that feature.
And I'll tell her that Tanya at work says, you know what? I agree. Your wife needs flowers.
I concur.
And she'll be like, I don't care. I just want the flowers.
And then you could set a reminder to just send flowers, randomly.
Okay.
I love that.
I love it. So today I'm going to talk about not a bouquet of flowers here on the show that I have to review anyways, but a phone. This is the HTC Desire 510. Now, HTC is kind of trying to elevate their efforts in the low to mid-range category right now. There for a while, they kind of devoted themselves to the hero phones, the upper range, and now they're kind of getting back into putting out some lower and mid-tier options, and that's what the Desire 510 is all about. The prices on this device, it released just a couple of days ago. You can find it on Sprint. You can find it on some of the MVNOs around Sprint, like Boost Mobile. You're going to find different prices for this device, and that's a pretty critical part of my, pretty important part of my review. On Sprint, if you go to Sprint, you're going to find it for $216, but on Amazon, you'll find it for $120 off contract. Boost, you can actually get it for $100 flat off contract. So it's definitely on the lower price range as far as that is concerned. So let's take a look at the specs here real quick. 4.7-inch display, 480 by 854. That's 208 pixels per inch, so it's pretty low. We'll get to that in a second. It's running a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor with 1 gig of RAM. It also has 4 gigs of storage. And if you have had a smartphone, you know that 4 gigs gets eaten up really quick, so keep that in mind. The good news is, underneath this back cover here is a micro SD card slot that can store up to 128 gigs of extra storage. So I would say that's almost like a guarantee. If you get this phone, you might as well just pick up an SD card to throw in there. 5 megapixel rear-facing camera, 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera. It is running, this particular device especially, this is an LTE-capable device. So it's running on Sprint's Spark network, and that's kind of a big key for this device. It's a low-cost entry for LTE speed and connectivity. It's a 2100 milliamp hour battery on the back. Again, that is also removable, so you can swap that out if you have a backup battery. There's no NFC on here. It's running 4.4, Android 4.4 with Sense 6 overlay. And if you like HTC's Sense UI, you're going to get some of the splashes. Like this is Blink Feed, which is kind of like a merged, kind of combined social network feed, so you get everything in one feed, but you're not going to get all of their extra bells and whistles, and get to that in a second. They also have a bunch of different colors, so if you want to customize this, you have 4 choices. You have a deep gray, a white, this is a navy blue color that you're seeing here, and jet black, although it kind of looks purple to my eyes. What would you say?
I'd say it's a midnight blue.
Yeah, okay, so it's blue. I get my blues and my purples confused, I suppose. So just take a look at the design real quick. If you're familiar with HTC's recent design language over the past couple of years, you'll definitely see some of the design notes from the HTC One, both the M7 and the M8. Has a little bit of that, although it's a mono, one speaker up at the top as opposed to stereo speakers. It's maybe a little chunky, but honestly, I think the design is one of the strong suits of this device, especially for such an entry-level device. It's really comfortable, and it's not incredibly heavy, and I think that they made some really good kind of, they made some good choices as far as getting a nice, comfortable phone for such a low price. Let's see here. The camera, I would say there's a couple of picture choices in the TriCaster if you want to show them, but no surprise here. On the lower end devices, regularly what you see are just pictures that really aren't that great, and it's hard to tell when you're looking at it on the display here, but the pictures, when you get them on a computer and really blow them up, there's a lot of kind of blurriness and kind of a blandness to the color, although Tony's looking pretty awesome right there, I gotta say. But overall, it's a fixed focus camera. What that means is there is no way to focus. So you get the focus that you get, and that results in, let's see here, pretty blurry images like Frederic, flowers that really were just super fuzzy and blurry, all that kind of stuff. So big surprise here on a lower end phone. You're not getting it because it has the best camera in the world. So keep that in mind. Performance, I thought this actually performed pretty darn well for being such a low-cost device. Browsing, OS level stuff is all pretty smooth and everything. It does break down, though, when you get to gaming. And I'll tell you something. Part of this, it's twofold. One, storage limits. With 4 gigs on here, I tried to install one of the games that I test on a lot of devices is Real Racing 3, and I installed it, and it ate up the rest of the remaining storage. I could do nothing with the phone. It said I've run out of space because of one game. Keep that in mind. Also, I was playing Riptide GP2, which is another game I like to do, and it involves kind of moving your phone. Oops, I just turned it off. Moving your phone from side to side in order to steer. And the problem with that is that the viewing angles on the display, see how much that drops out when I angle? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, literally, like, the screen goes dark when you angle it too much. So, keep that in mind. It can play these nicer games, but you're not going to have a great experience doing it because you can't see half the time. So, we might as well talk about the display really quick. As I said, horrible viewing angles, pretty dull, washed out colors, and the resolution of the display is low res. You can definitely tell, like, on the lower end devices, after a little while playing with them, what they kind of cheaped out on a little bit to hit that cost. And here it's definitely the display and the camera. Low resolution. The screen actually has this crazy, like, has this crazy, I don't know, the tactile, the feel of the screen and how it picks up finger marks is way worse than I'm normally used to seeing. So keep that in mind. It got really fuzzy really quick with just a ton of marks, and even cleaning it off can be kind of challenging, and a lot of reflections, as you can see. And then finally, it is running Sense 6 with some of the extras that you've come to know from HTC software, like Blink Feed. Like I said, you can also get the dot view case, which I don't have to review, but it's basically a case that goes over and lets through certain dots to give you kind of like this kind of old school digital readout when it's in the case. Kind of cool. It doesn't have boom sound for enhanced audio quality, though the speaker was, pretty all right. And there's a lot of software included on here. So like I said, that 4 gigs of space gets eaten up quick. Thankfully, you can uninstall some of that stuff. So I was able to do that. Not a problem. So that is it. What do you think so far?
Well,
you're giving me that look.
I'm giving you the look. Well, I'm thinking, well, then who would use this phone? Because it clearly isn't for pleasure. I mean, a lot of people, that the only camera they have is in their phone.
That's true.
And if you're getting it for a young person because of the cost and you're thinking, well, I'll give this to my child, they probably will want to play games. So what really comes to mind is, what about for business? I mean, is this something that you could offer to your employees at a pretty low cost? You really don't want them to be playing games. And
yeah.
They're not supposed to be taking
so.
pictures.
But I mean, really, like straight up, out of the box, 3 of the 4 gigs on this particular device were eaten up by all the other stuff. So you basically have a gig. So I suppose through the enterprise, it could be an option. Mm-hmm. Are the people going to want this device? I guess if it's the only option, it's the only option.
That's true.
And B, if you have anything else that you put onto the devices for your enterprise, you're going to quickly run out of space, and managing documents might be a challenge. So, but yes, micro SD card might save the day there. But it's a really fair question. I think ultimately what this is about is price more than anything. I want a smartphone. I don't have very much money to spend on a smartphone. I have $100. So hey, here's what you can get for $100. So let's do this. Let's tackle the pros here. The design, I think, was a good kind of trade-off for a low-end device. It's really kind of comfortable to hold, and you have a little bit of color customization. LTE capable, which I think is another of its strong suits and probably makes it maybe more enterprise friendly because it's super fast when you're out on the road. And price on some carriers, though the price is also kind of a con, because if you're on Sprint, $200 unlocked or $220 unlocked for this is way overboard. I would not recommend that. The cons, the display, I really just did not like this display at all. The camera, of course, I didn't expect the camera to be too great, but I was confirmed with that. And then, of course, the limited storage. I really, really fluctuated between try and don't buy on this, only because you have to compare it against similar spec phones or similar price phones, right? If all you have is $100 and you want a smartphone that's reasonably capable, then this might actually be okay, because I understand the kind of peeling back on some of the specs in order to hit $100 out of pocket unlocked for this device. But if you're on Sprint and you're thinking about this device and it's $220 unlocked to get it, don't buy it. Ultimately, I think try. There are other alternatives. The Moto G, for example, is very similar to this device and wins in almost every category. The only thing the Moto G doesn't have is LTE. So if LTE is your thing, if that's what you need, then this might be one of the few games in town. So it's like a try, borderline don't buy. But I think if LTE is important to you, then I think it's worth considering.
There you have it.
So there you go. Whew, the HTC Desire 510. That is the device. Well, that is it. Another episode of Before You Buy. Just had a lot of fun hosting the episode this week. Leo, of course, will be back next week. And want to thank everybody who reviewed. Of course, Tanya Hall, thank you for joining me here at the table. And we had Chad Johnson, Aaron Newcomb. Just a lot of fun. So thank you all for joining us. You can always catch the show on our website. If you go to twit.tv/BYB, you can subscribe, download. Of course, we're on YouTube as well, so search for it there. We have all of our reviews posted on YouTube individually, as well as in the entirety of the show. So just go to YouTube and search for Twit Before You Buy. But that is it for this week. We'll see you next week on Before You Buy. And remember, you got to watch before you buy. See you there.